Topps, we have a problem. Superfractors are supposed to be one-of-one cards. They're supposed to be completely unique. But what happens if they aren't? What happens if there's more than one of the exact same one-of-one? We're facing that situation now. Hello, sports card investors, and welcome to another episode of Cards on the Table. And we got a main topic to talk about today because there's something going on in the sports card hobby that isn't so great. Imagine the thrill, Teapot, of watching a live break and seeing that your slot got the Superfractor.
Pretty good.
The Superfractor, the one-of-one, the most valuable possible card from the new Bowman Chrome of a player who you like. But then Doug over here bought into a different break and he got the same exact Superfractor card. How is that even possible? Well, it just recently happened. Brett Kleinman on social media astutely discovered that two different breakers both individually pulled a one-of-one 2023 Bowman Chrome Superfractor of Victor Izturis, the exact same card. That shouldn't be possible. But we've seen this actually happen from time and time again. I'm going to show you a Desmond Ridder card, which my son just found, which appears to be an exact duplicate, numbered the same, yet not the same card. And we've seen it happen with Dak Prescott's rookies back in the day, the golds. There was that whole controversy and other cards as well. Teapot, this might not be good. And could this problem actually be more widespread than what any of us realize right now?
I'm sure it's more widespread than what we're aware of. How this happens is what I really don't understand. There's a lot of theories, was this a backup copy that it somehow got, slipped through? What was this meant for? Are they going to stamp this for Topps archives and do something weird with it? Who knows? Here's what I know. Michael Rubin just came out literally yesterday and apologized on social media publicly for a Fanatics snafu where they printed crooked on some Eagles t-shirts. To me, that seemed like actually a pretty minor issue to have to be
harmless.
but it's Philly fans, right. So they're just going crazy, probably burning the city down because of their crooked t-shirts. His direct quote was, "If there's one thing I've learned in business, own your mistakes." And that, in my opinion, is what Topps needs to be doing in a case like this. And they've kind of come out in the past. Sometimes they've had pretty good responses to different issues. But in this case, this is like a capital offense. Like, you can't have a Superfractor have two copies. You got to come out. You got to say, look, we've dug into this. This is how it happened. This is what we're going to do about it. And this is what we're going to do to prevent it going forward, and just have some transparency around that. You got to have an explanation for it. Otherwise, how do people, come out and say, I have confidence when I'm ripping these things? We talked about, imagine if one had been the breaker hit it and another one, I just opened it privately in my house. People are going to go, that's fake. Because we know this one already got ripped by a breaker, right. And then you suddenly have this credibility question.
In this case, two breakers ripped it, so you could see it
live
on the stream, which is good.
So I think that those people probably should be given some kind of supplemental gift or something from Topps too, just to say, like, we're sorry, we're going to make this up to you because now the value of that card is decreased. There have been some other issues. You pointed out Desmond Ridder. Siebel has just pointed out that Mamba Breaks had a case with like a gajillion retrofractors of Babe Ruth and Roberto Clemente in it. It was like completely loaded. We know they came out and said there were going to be loaded boxes of autos or whatever, that type of thing. And then shout out Ian, If Sports Cards, in his top 10 card pulls of the week, pointed out that there are currently 19 Juan Soto Uranus cards from that Planetary Cosmic on eBay, and others have sold. Well, if you stack the pack odds and people can back their way into that, there's only supposed to be 4 or 5 of those in existence. Meanwhile, no Venus cards have hit eBay anywhere for sales to this point. So again, you're seeing how do you have confidence in the print runs and the pack odds? I think it's a big issue.
Yeah, this is a bit concerning, Doug. What's your take on all of this?
So, this isn't totally new. We've definitely seen cards with the exact same serial number before, and various reasons why. The most common reason is someone sends their card in to get replaced. The card comes out of the pack damaged, scuffed, whatever. They send it in for replacement, and they have some replacement card stock on hand, and they stamp it with the same serial number and send it back out. But sometimes they send both cards back out, or however it happens, both cards ended up in circulation out in the wild.
Somehow, yeah.
This obviously isn't the same because they came out of packs that way. So it looks like possibly they took one of their replacement cards and accidentally put it in a pack. If that's the case, did they do that for every replacement card?
That's the question.
Are there going to be double one of ones for everything in that pack? Or it could be worse. Exactly what you talked about with the Topps Cosmic Chrome. It looks like they may have messed up the printing potentially based on pack odds and the cards that we're seeing pop up on the marketplaces. They messed up pack odds on that. So what if they messed up the printing instead? And what if they mess up the printing on this and there's more than just one extra one of one? It's a bad look in general. It's definitely bad for Superfractors. It's kind of funny to think about that they always probably have these extras on hand for replacement. So there's probably just a cardboard box somewhere full of extra one of ones that
I know that you don't want to ever get out because that messes all of this up. It's a tough problem. They're printing so many of these cards. The printing facilities are overloaded with the number of cards that are being made. And so I recognize mistakes can happen, but this is a tough one. Now, last year when Topps made the mistake with forgetting the super short print rookie cards, was that in Topps Chrome last year, where it was like Julio Rodriguez? They did acknowledge it. I thought they had a really good response to it, which was they did those special packs, the special silver packs for everybody who had bought one of the hobby boxes, and they did this whole thing. So Topps has been good communicators and transparent in the past. Hopefully they are here. Hopefully we learn more. And I imagine they're researching it now. I did reach out to Topps to ask for comment on this. They have not responded yet. My guess is they're probably in research mode, trying to figure out what did happen, because they got to figure that out on their own. So I don't know, but as we get news on that, we will convey that news to you. Make sure you're following us on social media, on the Sports Card Investor accounts on social media, so that we can give you that news when it is available. Okay, guys, one thing that I do know is that there are not two Garrett Wilson Gold Standard RPAs numbered to 79 on the Pristine auction website right now. There's only one, and it is one I have my eye on. It's nice. Garrett Wilson, a touchdown maker for the Jets. He's maybe the only person on the Jets capable of scoring a touchdown at this moment with Zach Wilson at quarterback, the way the season now seems to perhaps be unfolding. But I do like that card on Pristine. What card do you have your eye on?
One thing I know is that Travis Kelce knows that haters are going to hate.
That's right.
And there's rumors about who he may be.
No, right?
It's not confirmed.
It's not confirmed?
No. He said it wasn't true. He said it was not true.
I thought he said it was true.
He said no, there's no truth.
Well, if he says it's not true, then it is true.
I've got my eye on a Travis Kelce 2020 Contenders veteran playoff ticket, autograph number to 25.
Nice. Get T Swift autograph the back of that. You'd really have something. How about you, Doug?
2019 Spectra Deion Sanders auto out of 5. I talked about Deion during a Pristine segment months ago, and I said he might be a sneaky buy because of all this Colorado stuff and the hype.
Yeah, that was the smart call. These cards plus thousands more are available for sale and auction right now on pristineauction.com. And when you register at pristineauction.com, use code SCI when you register, and we'll hook you up with $10 free in your account towards your first purchase at pristineauction.com. All right, Teapot, your data dive video. This last weekend, you were reacting to things that happened in week 1 of the NFL. And card prices right now, man, like we covered it in our top 5 a couple of days ago. I mean, talk about just intense market reaction to stuff happening. I mean, we're seeing in a matter of 2 weeks, we're seeing Justin Fields cards drop by 50% or more. We're seeing Tua cards up by 50% or more. I don't believe you had that one. Did you have that one?
Yeah.
You had Tua?
Yeah.
Oh, well, he's got a little bit of everything now. A little bit of
He plays well.
Your video reacted to week 1. Now we have week 2 in the books. Let's react to week 2. And what is this going to mean for football cards going forward? Teapot, I'm curious to get your takes at first.
All right, so Danny Dimes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson all bounced back big time, right? Joe Burrow looked better, I think, especially second half. He found T. Higgins for a big week for him.
Maybe hobbled though.
Where's Jamar Chase? I don't know. Yeah, maybe hobbled. His calf issue. Maybe we'll see some Will Greer.
0-2.
Tua for MVP talked to me. He's playing well. He had a crazy week 1. Yeah. He had a pretty pedestrian week 2, like 249 yards, a touchdown, and interception. That's like average, right? That's not great.
Yeah, but they scored a lot of points.
They won the game. Raheem Mostert carried that team, kind of maybe surprisingly a little bit, right? Kirk Cousins has 708 yards passing, 6 touchdowns, 1 interception for the 0-2 Vikings. Doesn't help that Cousins has 3 fumbles lost, but the defense stinks behind the Vikings, so that's a big problem for him. And then the last thing for me is Puka Nacua. Puka Nahu, right?
Very few cards of his on the market, but the ones that are out there have exploded.
He is, Cooper Kupp is 6'2", 209 pounds. Puka Nacua is 6'2", 205 pounds. Cooper who? Like, this guy's just like breaking all the records, catching 15 balls, 16 balls. He's all over the place.
All right, Doug, put this into card terms for me. So he just rattled off some of the things that happened. Who should you be buying now, and who should you not be overreacting to?
Let me start by saying that NFL has not been very fun this season. The games haven't been super entertaining for the most part. There's been some one-offs like Tua's performance against the Chargers, but the games have been really sloppy, a ton of injuries, some significant injuries, and the guys, the superstars that we're counting on to carry the ultra-modern football market haven't been awesome for the most part. Yeah. There's some exceptions to that as well. So I think that overall sentiment, the game's not great, stars not performing, might be cooling off the entire football market right now. And that's the worst part about it is we really need to have guys like Herbert and Burrow not only have individual success but team success. Herbert's not played poorly, but the Chargers have. Burrow has played poorly. Trevor Lawrence has played okay. We need those guys to absolutely carry the market, and that's what's problematic right now. We've had the one-offs like Puka who have really exploded, and that's been exciting. Yep. But I think overall, if you just look at what we've had so far for this football season, it's not been awesome. We need better games, need better performances, and then the market will actually.
That's fair. We've seen Brock Purdy's cards going crazy. That's kind of been exciting. Mac Jones, his cards were on the rise a little bit on the rise there, despite Teapot's best wishes. Jordan Love. So we've had some moments, but I definitely get what you're saying. I mean, for me right now, the guy, I am closely monitoring the Joe Burrow market because if there is any type of panic sell-off in Burrow right now, you're seeing prices start to creep down. If there's any type of panic sell-off, I think it's probably a good time to buy Burrow. Now, the one hesitation is the calf muscle. That's the one hesitation, but he didn't play at all in the preseason. Of course, he's going to come out rusty. Lost the first couple of games, did start to look better in this last game, but last year also started 0-2 and ended up in the AFC Championship game. This year started 0-2, and then look at their schedule. It gets considerably easier. They've got some easy games ahead. I would not be surprised if they win their next 4 and they're 4-2, and all of this early season we're worried about Joe Burrow has all absolutely been cast aside, and his cards are hot again.
That's what we need.
So that is what we need. And so I don't know, this might be the week to buy Joe Burrow as long as his calf muscle holds up. Maybe. So I'm looking right now. I'm looking online. I might look at Pristine Auction and try to find myself a Joe Burrow card tonight. All right, guys, we'll be right back with a couple more great topics. Guys, that Sports Card Investor app is completely free, and it's the ultimate way to track who is trending this football season. Make sure to download the Sports Card Investor app in the App Store. Okay, Doug, I got something big I'm doing this weekend.
I know.
I know you're a little jealous of this. You're a little jealous. I'm getting to go to San Antonio. I get to hang out with Wemby, Victor Wembanyama. Gonna spend a little bit of with Wemby this weekend as part of that.
Don't you need an interpreter?
As part of that. It's not
Wemby,
Ohtani.
okay?
I'm not going to go see Ohtani. As part of the Topps event. No, I took French in school. Okay. I'm good. I took French in school. As part of the Topps event, where they're rewarding the people who pulled the Bowman U redemptions, the out of 99 green Wemby autos. All of those people have been invited, paid for fully by Topps. Flights paid for, hotels paid for. All of those people with those redemptions have been invited to San Antonio this Saturday to meet Wemby in person and to get him to personally sign their card and hand it to him. That is one heck of a way to get your redemption fulfilled, right?
I didn't know you pulled one.
I know people. It's a couple people. So I'm thankful that I got invited to that. My question to you, Doug, is this the future of sports cards? We see Rubin, Michael Rubin. We see him pulling athletes into things. There was a break up in New York City recently where he had Odell Beckham participate. He had Tom Brady join on the phone. Derek Jeter was part of that.
Yeah, Devin Booker on FaceTime.
Devin Booker, that whole thing. We've seen Bobby Witt Jr. and Julio Rodriguez do stuff around cards. Mike Trout has done PSA submissions recently and has become an ambassador for them. It seems like athletes are getting more about this. Do you think we're going to see more experiences and more interactions similar to what we're seeing this weekend in San Antonio?
Yeah, it certainly seems that way. I mean, one of the first moves they made was they had the cards that had the follow back, right? The social media follow back cards. Then we're seeing, different ways that they're using athletes to integrate into kind of a marketing campaign, more or less. But I think that's really important. As much as you can get superstar athletes involved with marketing sports cards, the more it reaches a general audience that may not already be interested in sports cards, right? And that's one of their goals, using marketing to help grow this business in ways that it's never been used before. So I think that is really important, and I like seeing this involvement as well. I always liked seeing athletes break or be participating in breaks, and as they're pulling cards and they're seeing old teammates or old adversaries and having those commentaries. We did a box break with Lamar Odom once, and watching him go through there and even off camera talking about some of the guys. I think that's really interesting. So I like the content that you can build around having athletes involved, and I also just think it's better exposure for general sports fans that aren't necessarily sports card fans.
I like that take. Are you on the same page there?
Yeah, I mean, it's a slam dunk. You can't go wrong, no pun intended. I think this is exactly what people look for that next level, that experience, and that's really what it should be, is like more than just even like shaking the hand and whatever, like hopefully an experience. I always like listening to interviews with athletes and hearing them kind of talk about the game and about other players and their interactions in a way that you couldn't otherwise get because you're not one of those athletes. So whether it's retired people, I just listened to a really interesting Greg Maddux interview, and that was fascinating, or the current guys, and just we're seeing more and more podcasts like the Kelsey brothers, like JJ Redick, other ones where they talk about it, they bring it in. It's almost like you get to be a part of the inner circle to hear what's going on with them, and I think that's really fascinating. So hopefully a lot of these athletes in these interactions too feel like they can just sort of be themselves, be at ease, a more intimate setting, not the public holding things out. I think it's really cool, and who knows, maybe we'll get an opportunity to participate in that someday too.
So I like it from this perspective. One of Fanatics' stated goals is to increase the number of collectors by 10 times. And when I think about how the heck are they going to do that, what they've got to be able to do is they got to be able to take the average sports fan who does not currently collect cards and get them interested in collecting cards. And what better way to do that than to say, hey, if you happen to pull this particular redemption card, you get to go to San Antonio. We're going to pay your whole way. You get to meet Victor Wembanyama. Those types of things, I think, are going to get the attention of everyday sports fans, not just collectors. So I think it's really smart, and I hope we see more and more of it. I think we will see more and more of it. I think it's part of the playbook that Fanatics and Topps is going to run going forward. All right, next question, Doug. This is suggested by one of our viewers in the YouTube comments after the last show. By the way, put your questions for next week in the YouTube comments. The Deion Sanders effect. You stated, Doug, you were bought into Deion before the season even started, and the fact that could bring some hype to college football. And man, has it ever. There is maybe no bigger story in all of sports this year, than Deion Sanders and turning around Colorado's football team and all the excitement that he has brought to that. But could this benefit the sports card hobby in some way? How does this or does this not kind of correlate over to cards?
It correlates exactly to the topic we just had, essentially. So take a look at the Colorado State game that was just on ESPN the other night. That game was on almost until 2 a.m. Eastern. That's the 5th most watched game in the history of ESPN, of college football. And then you take a look at some of the other stuff that was going on. He had The Rock. He had Lil Wayne in the locker room. The whole controversy about the sunglasses. The opposing coach said he's wearing the sunglasses, doesn't take them off. That company sold over $1 million in sunglasses in just 1 week because of this. If Deion were to come out and start hyping up Bowman Chrome because his son Shador's in the product and Travis Hunter's in the product, that would probably go nuts too. But this is the kind of thing, I mean, Deion is a larger-than-life personality, a marketing genius apparently, but this is the kind of thing, if you start building up this marketing, building up this hype in ways that we haven't seen in the hobby before, if fanatics can capture some of that, this is the type of impact you could hypothetically see in the hobby. So I do think there's a direct correlation, and that's a really good example of what can happen when athletes get involved.
That's true. I mean, do you think Michael Rubin could place a phone call to Deion and ask him to just start ripping some Bowman Bowman Chrome U packs in his next press conference appearance? Doug's right. That might really get things going in the secondary market for these cards. What are your thoughts, Teapot?
I mean, look, Coach Prime ticks all the boxes. He ticks all the boxes. Not only was he a player, but one of the greatest of all time at his position. Obviously, just an incredible athlete. And he seems to find the right balance between trash talking, smooth talking, and inspirational talking.
Yeah,
those three things. That's not easy to do. Back in the day, it was a lot of trash talking. It was a lot of flash and trash, right? When I was growing up, I was a Barry Sanders fan. Humble, go about your business. My dad was always trashing Deion and don't be like that guy. He's kind of toned it down and found a more mature, sage approach as a coach, and everybody loves it. And it's no surprise that the media is really good at identifying those people and then basically adding jet fuel to that persona and creating. This has been like watching reality TV, for college football. And it's not, if somebody told you 2 years ago that Colorado versus Colorado State would be the 5th highest watched college football game, you'd be like, what are you talking about?
Even if someone said that at the end of last season.
I think it's fascinating.
Oh my gosh.
I think it could be really interesting to see how it plays out for Bowman first football cards and things going forward. Who knows if it's here to last. I wouldn't be buying Deion cards right now. I'd be selling them, but overall, it's pretty interesting.
And Deion cards are up way, way high. He was in the top 5 again this week. Just incredible. Yeah, it's been fun to watch. The only thing that makes me sad is that Georgia Tech, right here in Atlanta, just down the street, Georgia Tech, there was talk of them going after Deion.
Could have had him.
I don't know what happened there. How do you let him go to Colorado?
We could have Deion in studio right now.
We could have had Deion right here ripping some cards if he was at Georgia Tech. It's a mile down the damn road. Get Deion to Georgia Tech. How do they whiff on that? All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed the show today. If you did, give it a like, give it a subscribe. Go download that free Sports Card Investor app and leave us your ideas in the YouTube comments for the next show. And we'll see you then. Take care.